and the son's supposed to be like us. I want to talk about the first son. No comments on my drawing. Right? I traced this off the internet. I wonder a lot about this story. No question. So here's a picture of God's voice, and God is asking this boy, first son, to do something. Seems like it might be something really hard. Lots of God's work is really hard. Not all of God's work, but a lot of it. So God asked him, I think, to do something hard, because he had to think about it. So he thinks about it. I wonder what he is thinking. I wonder if he was worried that the thing that God was asking him was maybe just too hard for him to do. That he just couldn't complete it, maybe, even if he wanted to. I wonder if he was scared to do it. I wonder if God asked him something that he was scared about. Something maybe he had always wanted to do, but he just couldn't get to do it because he was too scared. I wonder if he just didn't know how to do it. Maybe he was a little too afraid to ask. I wonder if any of you, lately or at some point in the past, have ever been asked to do something really hard. Maybe even by God. So he thinks about it, and we hear his answer. And when I was reading the text at first, I initially heard his answer to be no. He thinks about it and thinks about it, and what I heard was that he said no. But he doesn't actually say no. What he actually says is, I will not. I don't have the will to do it. Which to me is a little different than no. So this is a real question that can have an answer, even from my son. Does anyone know what a will is? Has anyone here been called strong-willed? I was when I was little. What is a will? Does anyone know? Any grown-ups know what a will is? A will is our ability to decide to do something and then to actually do it. So when this little boy says, I will not, rather than no, I have not the will, instead of no, that seems like a big difference to me. Maybe he wishes he could, but he just can't get himself to do it. I wonder what he means when he says, I will not. Here is his will. Kind of a poor rendering, but you get the idea. It's gray, it's kind of knotted up, it's all tight. He can't really use it. So he says, I will not. I don't have the will. What we can infer from the story is that there was some part of this son that was open to his will changing. Even after he answers, I will not, he keeps thinking about what God asked. I wonder if any of you have initially said, I will not, but that question keeps going in your head, and you keep coming back to it again and again. And Aria says, no, never. Never. When she decides it's for all of time. Even after he answers, he keeps thinking about what what God had asked of him. He got their thoughts. I wonder if he imagined what it would be like if he did say yes. What would actually happen? What would all the steps be? I wonder if he imagines in his mind. Anyway, as he thinks about it and talks about it, his will begins to change a little bit. It begins to unravel and open up a little bit. It gets a little more color, and he keeps thinking, and he keeps talking, and he keeps coming back to it again and again, maybe in the middle of the night for years on end. I have not had that experience, especially as relates to this garb right here. And then his will is completely opened. His will transforms, it changes. It's colorful, it's open, it's vibrant, it's willing. I wonder how that happened. I wonder what sort of question can make us keep coming back so many times that we allow our will to get all unknotted. So eventually, he says yes. We don't get to hear what happens next, but I like to imagine that, as is so for so much of the work that God asks us to do, that even if it's hard and even if it takes us a long time to say yes, doing it ends up being so very often joyful. We often meet wonderful new people when we do big things for God because we can't do them by ourselves. God sends us other people to help us. I wonder if it was deeply fulfilling for him, if he felt really proud of the work he had done and the people he had met, and his own ability to help God. So as I was thinking about this story, a friend of mine named Jen, who lives one street over, called me up on Sunday night. Now, Sunday nights are not a great night to ask me to do something. I tend to be a little tired. David tends to be a little tired because he's been with our amazing children for a lot of time. And she asked me if on Monday, if I would like to do what I sort of knew was God's work, if I would like to go and register new voters. So I thought about it, and I thought, oh geez, Mondays, those used to be my days with Kate. And those are days that I thought, if I can't be with Kate, I should do something worthwhile. And that particular Monday, I was thinking a nap would be really worthwhile. I was thinking a nap, I was thinking I could make dinner. I was thinking, I just don't have the energy. I will not. I don't have the will. So I texted Jennifer back and I actually said, no. But what I really meant was, I will not. I don't have the will. But I could tell it was kind of a question from God because all that night, it kept getting to me. And I was doing the dishes after the kids went to bed and I called my sister. Usually I call my sister when I want my sister to say, no, you're completely right. You should just, no, you should take your nap. So I called my sister and I said, do you think I should do this? And she said, oh, well, you could take your nap. You could. And I said, well, that was not convincing. She said, but it could be really fun. I was like, yeah, but, I'm tired. And you guys may not know it, but I'm actually kind of shy. Here, I'm not as shy, but out in the world, I'm pretty shy. And I thought, I don't know if I have the energy to talk to a whole bunch of new people. My sister said, yeah, but I think you might really like it. So I hung up the phone and I said again, I will not. But I came back to it again and again. I asked David about it about 15 times. And he said, I can't make this decision for you. But my will started to change. David, I think, was getting annoyed. It was a simple question. Thought it would be one and done. Not so much. In the middle of the night, I'm thinking, oh, you didn't do it. So the next day, my will opened up. It wasn't quite as expansive as this, but I said, yes. Didn't feel quite the same as the butterfly until I got there, and it was 400 new citizens to the United States. In an amazing, glorious ceremony, who came out with their certificates of citizenship, and we had giant signs that said, register to vote, and they came pouring out and pouring over, and they were so excited about the right, for a different sermon, whether sometimes it's only a privilege, but their right to vote in this country. So we registered, of the 400, we registered over half of them that day. And it was this amazing thing, and I met all these really interesting people, and I was so happy that I had done it, because it was really fulfilling, and it was incredibly joyful. And so my favorite piece of good news from this story and from my own story, which mirrors it, is that God really meets us where we are. You know, we hear about the disciples, and Jesus asks them to follow him, and they go. Immediately, we're heard. They drop everything, and they go. Immediately. And that's so often not me. I'm so often the boy who's thinking about it, who initially says, I will not. I don't have the will. There's a place for us, too. Just as much place. It doesn't matter to God how long it takes us to get there. All we need is to just be honest and authentic, to articulate that we just don't have the will. And God will work on it. We have to be just a tiny bit open to being unraveled. And God will work on it. Through all of the people in our lives, through our own conversations with God and thinking and processing. There is space for even the I will not. Not just the yes and the immediately. May each of us feel like we have space in God's glorious kingdom where there is much joyful and fulfilling work to do. Amen.